Ontario Premier Doug Ford suspended one of his MPPs from caucus today. That's after Randy Hillier allegedly said yada, yada, yada to a group of mothers angry about changes to autism funding. The CBC's Mike Crawley joins us now from Queen's Park with the latest. Hey, Mike, what happened?
Well, Vashi, quick bit of context here. Ford government is making some really significant changes to how public funding is handed out for autism therapy. And a bunch of parents were here packing the public galleries at Queen's Park, and every question from the opposition NDP today was about this autism funding issue. So right at the very end of question period, Randy Hillier, bit of a maverick MPP for the PCs, said yada, yada, yada at the across the benches. Now, what's unclear is, who did he say this to? There were some parents who very clearly thought that he said it to them. Can you take a listen to this?
They won't talk to us.
You saw what we get.
Yeah.
They get nothing. We get yada, yada, yada.
We get yada, yada, yada,
yada, yada.
When we send out emails, all we get is rhetoric being sent back to us. We get just basically copy and paste emails. We don't get told, oh, we'd like to meet you. We don't get told, please come in and see us. We don't get any of that.
So the PC government's been having to deal with these angry parents, and these angry parents got even angrier when they felt that a PC MPP said yada, yada, yada at them. In less than, basically an hour after those parents were saying this to reporters, email came out saying Randy Hillier is suspended from the PC caucus. This a statement from Premier Doug Ford saying that his comments were disrespectful.
Now, Randy Hillier also responded, though, right?
Yeah, so Randy Hillier does not deny that he said yada, 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 but he said that he said that at an NDP member of the legislature because he felt she was politicizing this autism issue and cashing in on people's pain. So Randy Hillier came out, gave a bit of a statement. He apologized to the parents, saying that some parents felt that he said it to them, and he said he would never say such a thing to parents, but that he said it to this NDP member. I've been told by my sources that the PCs have been actually looking for an excuse to get rid of Randy Hillier because he's outspoken. He's been a thorn in the side of Premier Ford and Premier Ford's Chief of Staff, Dean French. And I asked Randy Hillier in this news conference, did he speak out, debate with Dean French, the Premier's Chief of Staff?
Well, I think everybody here who's been here for any length of time know that I always state my case, okay? And I'm not, and I always will state my case, but I'll do it respectfully, and I'll do it with the best evidence and arguments that I have available to me.
So for now, Randy Hillier is not a member of the PC caucus. We're told, though, his fate will be decided by a meeting of the PC caucus next Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Mike. The CBC's Mike Crawley from Queen's Park for us. Staying on this story, the Ontario Liberals are calling for an investigation into Minister Lisa MacLeod and what she had allegedly said to an autism group. MacLeod apologized after the group said she warned them it would be a long 4 years if the group didn't support her new funding plan. Michael Coteau is the Liberal MPP for Don Valley East, and he joins me now from Toronto. Hi, Mr. Coteau. Nice to see you. Thank you for your time.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me.
So you're calling on the Provincial Ethics Commissioner to probe those allegations against Minister MacLeod. She has apologized for her comments. Why do you feel like it's still needed?
Well, it was a half-hearted apology. I don't think the apology actually dealt with the situation. When you're a minister, you're in a position of extreme influence, and the allegations that have come forward from this particular group is that she tried to use her influence to pressure the group to make a decision. We're hearing from other groups across the autism sector that this same tactic may have been applied to them. So I'm asking the Integrity Commissioner to use the legislation that was built to ensure that ministers and members don't overuse their power and investigate to make sure that this is not part of an everyday process within government.
I just want to be clear. Who How many people have you heard from? Like, are you saying that she's said made the exact same threat to other people? Is that what you're saying?
These are all allegations. These are all allegations, but in private, I've spoke to a couple of additional groups that have suggested that this may have taken place with other groups. So the Integrity Commission, if we know that there's a clear example with an organization that is a not-for-profit organization that's working there to help families and children, and that they feel that they've been pressured to endorse a plan that they do not agree with. I just want to know, are there more groups that fall into the same category? And I'm asking the Integrity Commissioner to use the rule of law to go out there to ensure that this is not something that's happening more and more within this government.
This all stems from program changes that the government announced recently. Specifically, their attempt to clear a waiting list, which piled up under when your party was in government. What are your specific concerns about the plan that they announced?
Well, we know that moderate to intense ABA requirements are very resource driven. We're talking $40, $50, $60, $100,000 a year, especially at the upfront when a young person needs those specific skill sets and tools to just be a bit more independent, and usually it's over a short period of time. What the government's done is they've actually put in a one-fit-all solution for young people across the province. We know that any young person with autism is unique. The funding that they're providing, if you're over 7 years old, is capped at $5,000. This is going to bankrupt families here in Ontario.
I take your point. What other alternative did they have, though, given the size of the waiting list that they argue was a result of your government's inadequate policies on the issue?
Well, the most important thing is actually just listen to what parents are saying. So we know that 23,000 number that the minister keeps using. We don't believe that number. Parents don't believe that number. We don't believe that the money that was allocated for this file has been used. So we're asking the minister, just open the door, invite parents back to the table, to sit down with experts and really listen to the advice that they have to give. That's exactly what we had to do as the Liberal Party. We made a major error in this by putting in an age cap. We went back and we revisited the plan. We worked with parents, we worked with experts to get it right. That's all the minister has to do, is just sit down with people. But she's dug her, her plan. She's taken her plan and made sure that it's something that she will not budge on. And she says this is the plan, and get used to it. And that's the mantra that's coming from this government. When
you say that there aren't 22,000 people on the list, how many do you believe there are then?
Well, a lot of those young people that are on the list are young people who are in between different allocations of ABA training. So you may be going from one group of training to the next. So you could be in queue for the next transition. So
even if there's half that, let's say there's 11,000 people, so that's still an issue, isn't it?
Well, the most important thing is that we knew that the previous Liberal plan, the plan that I put in place, there was actually movement taking place. So there were many people, many parents that were getting onto the list, and we started to see the elimination. In fact, we saw the elimination of apparently 50% of the people that were on that list. So we just want the minister to share those numbers. That's all we're asking for. Share those numbers and tell us exactly what's going on and invite people back to the table. The plan simply does not work. If you're getting $5,000 when you require $90,000 for ABA training, how does that actually work? It's like, someone being diagnosed with a certain illness and only being given a piece of the allocation of medicine that they require. It just does not make sense. It's not based on fact, and it's not a logical solution to the problem.
No, I understand, and I take your point of what you're saying about the caps, and we have interviewed the minister about those as well. Right. But it's not just their numbers. I mean, I look back through a number of articles the CBC had last year that talked about parents who are at the top of the list who had first gone on it 2 years prior. Right. So I have to question your assertion that your plan was working.
We were making progress. So if you talk to parents out there, and I think if you go on to any of the social media sites or Facebook groups where parents are speaking up, they're saying the plan was working, and this is factual, that the plan was working. There were some tweaks that were necessary, but we're talking about an increase in autism numbers over the last 20 years that have just skyrocketed. The demand was constantly growing, and what I think the minister is going to do, she's going to move that 23,000 number she's using to 40,000, because if you actually get $5,000 and you get a bit of the ABA therapy, you're still in need of more allocated resources. So where is that going to come from? And that's the big question that parents want answered by this minister.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Koto. Appreciate your time.